I was running late for the train that morning. The kind of late where your heart is pounding and your brain is screaming, if you miss this, everything falls apart. My phone slipped out of my hand while I rushed through the crowded station. I barely noticed, but someone else did. An old woman, dressed in worn, colorful clothes, the kind people whisper about and call a gypsy, picked it up and handed it to me. Then she grabbed my wrist. Her eyes were wide, almost terrified, and she whispered something that still gives me chills today. Don't board the train. Go home, hide in your closet. Don't ask questions. You'll understand later. At the time, I thought she was insane, but an hour later, sitting in my closet, I heard something that made my blood turn ice cold. Before I tell you what happened next, if you love intense, real lifestyle revenge stories that make your heart race, make sure to like this video and subscribe, because the story you're about to hear isn't just creepy, it's about betrayal, survival, and the moment I realized someone very close to me wanted me gone. That morning started like every other stressful weekday. I'm 26, living alone in a small apartment near the city center. My life wasn't glamorous, just work, coffee, and trying to stay afloat like everyone else. But that morning, everything was chaos. My boss had been breathing down my neck all week. I had an important meeting across town, and if I missed that train, I'd probably lose my job. So yeah, I was sprinting. When the old woman handed me my phone, I barely even thanked her. My brain was still locked onto the train schedule. But then she grabbed my wrist. Her grip was surprisingly strong. Listen to me, she said urgently. Her voice was low and shaky. Don't board the train. Go home. Hide in the closet. Don't ask questions. I stared at her. For a second, I actually laughed. Lady, I'm late for work, but she didn't smile. Her eyes stayed locked on mine like she could see something I couldn't. Trust me, she whispered. Then she let go and walked away into the crowd. And just like that, she was gone. I stood there for a moment feeling weirdly unsettled. But logic kicked in. She's just a crazy old woman. Still, something about the way she said it stuck in my head. So instead of jumping onto the train immediately, I hesitated, just long enough for the doors to close. The train pulled away without me. I remember standing there feeling stupid. Great job, I muttered to myself. Now you're definitely fired. But a strange feeling crawled up my spine. So instead of waiting for the next train, I went home. The whole walk back, I kept replaying her words in my head. Hide in the closet. It sounded ridiculous, but curiosity and a weird sense of dread pushed me to actually do it. I stepped into my apartment. Everything looked normal, too normal. I walked into my bedroom, opened my closet door, and sat inside. At that point, I was laughing at myself. Congratulations, I whispered. You've officially lost your mind. 10 minutes passed. Nothing happened. 20 minutes. Still nothing. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through messages, feeling more and more embarrassed. Then suddenly, I heard something. The sound of a key sliding into my apartment door. My heart skipped. I froze. Slowly, the door opened. Footsteps entered the apartment. But here's the thing. I wasn't expecting anyone. I live alone. The footsteps moved calmly through my living room. Then I heard a voice, a man's voice, and another one I recognized immediately. My boyfriend, Ryan. My stomach dropped. Ryan was supposed to be at work. Are you sure she's gone? The other guy asked. Ryan laughed. Yeah, she catches the 8:15 train every day. She'll be halfway across town by now. My chest tightened. They were talking about me. Good, the other man said. Because this needs to look like an accident. My brain struggled to process the words. Ryan spoke again, his voice colder than I'd ever heard it. Relax, once the train crashes. No one will question it. Everything inside me went silent. My ears rang. Train. Crash. Suddenly the old woman's warning echoed in my mind. Don't board the train. The other man asked, You're sure she'll be on it? Ryan chuckled. She never misses it. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the closet. The man continued. And once she's gone, the apartment is yours. Ryan sighed happily. And the life insurance. That was the moment something inside me changed. Not just fear, betrayal. The kind that burns so deeply it feels physical. Ryan, the man I trusted, had planned my death. I stayed in that closet for nearly an hour until they left. The second the door slammed shut, I called the police. Turns out Ryan and his friend had tampered with equipment near the tracks. They were planning to cause a derailment and blame it on a mechanical failure. But because I wasn't on the train, and because I heard their entire conversation, the police had everything they needed. Ryan was arrested that same night. When they brought him out of the building in handcuffs, he saw me standing across the street, alive, his face turned white. Pure shock. He stared at me like he'd seen a ghost. I just looked back at him, calm, because the man who tried to erase me from existence was now the one whose life was over. Sometimes justice doesn't come from revenge. Sometimes it comes from one small decision, one missed train, and one mysterious warning from a stranger who somehow knew exactly what was about to happen. To this day, I still wonder who that woman really was. If this story gave you chills, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more intense revenge stories just like this one. And tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you heard that conversation from the closet? Because honestly, I'm still trying to process how close I came to never hearing it at all.